Hello. Christina loaned me this little blaster of hers. It's a little toy, and I think is a good way to start and end these little vlogs. So, there. Hello. Red, I want to tell you a story about my high school days. I think I was a junior at the time. And, sort of a normal kid, a little bit short, not skinny, very bright. I think I must have been devastatingly handsome, irresistible, but I'm not sure. I mean, reports indicate that. I didn't know a lot about the world around me because we didn't have a television or a newspaper. But I would pick up clues here and there from people talking. And we did come up with things in the classroom. I mean, we took history and we read books that in those days told history and told the truth mostly. Unlike, I'm sorry to say, these current sad days when you just never know. But there were newspapers where you could get news from the day on the street and you could read different points of view, and we went to the library and were encouraged to read more. So we had an idea of what was going on, and I really liked that. But I was really, I think, unaware of the fact that I was living in like a two-tier society and going to a kind of a two-tier school, kind of segregated by intelligence. I was in the bright side, college-bound, taking college-prepped classes, and not really aware of the other side, which is somewhere over there on the other side of the school. I never saw it. They must have had their own buildings, industrial arts, shop classes. And to graduate, those students, the lower level students, I guess, were taught to do things with their hands rather than their brains. And if they took English, which they had to take, it was like regular or remedial English and math. They had to take math, but they never got to even hear about calculus. It was like basic math. So it was an uneven society, and I don't think I was aware of it. I should have been. And I had an encounter one time with people from the other side. It was at lunch. I was on the lunch court, outside like the playground. I'd already eaten my sack lunch. I didn't go in the cafeteria to look around to see, those people with money, what did they eat? I could smell the cooked food on plates, and I was jealous. Well, these two guys came up to me from, I'm sure, the other side of the school because I didn't recognize them. And they came up to me, and because I was at that moment standing by myself, and they said, "Have you heard the news?" And I thought, here we go. These are like those proselytizers who come around and knock on your door like religion, and they say, "Have you heard the word?" And they want to give you a pamphlet. And I thought, what am I in for? And they said, oh yes. They said, it's the Red Scare, the Red Tide. It swept over the country and they're everywhere and you never know who they are and you can't trust anybody. There are probably some right here on the playground and maybe in your classroom and you're not safe. And I said, oh, really? They said, yes. They drive by in unmarked cars and they drag you off the street and they put you in the back seat and they hold you down and two of them get to work on you and they take out this probe and they stick it up your nose, which gives you direct access to the brain without leaving a mark. And they scramble your brain around and then they throw your body out on the sidewalk and drive on looking for the next victim. And I wanted to say, oh, really? Is that what happened to you? But I'm not confrontational, and I don't really make fun of people until I know them better. And they said, oh, yes. And of course they said, you've heard about the red eggs. And I said, no. They said, oh, yes. They go in the store, and they take a carton of eggs off the shelf, and they open it and they take the eggs one by one and turn them over because nobody looks at the roundy bottom side, and they inject the egg with a needle and they inject red into it, and then they turn the egg back over, put it on the shelf, and you buy the eggs and take them home and cook them, and you eat the red. And it can either kill you outright, or it can go to your brain and scramble your brain like scrambled eggs. And I said, there's the bell. It's time to get back to class. Recess is over. Now, I can look at that incident and compare it to today and say there are disturbing parallels, and I'm old enough to have seen things before, which I think is why I'm telling you about it, because you may not know all this. And I want to even tell you a little bit more, but I've broken this up into segments, and I hope I don't go too long on any of them. But I want to tell you more about the Red Scare and what was happening in those days, and I am an eyewitness. I can verify because I was there. And I'll leave it for now, and I'll take my little blaster, which says, goodbye for now. See you later.